Hello, my name is Marcus. I'm the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes entitled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self-help quotes taken from what's often called the psychodynamic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine, helping one to, as one shrink recently put it, get our soul back into our body so we can feel embodied at home within. That's called having a sense of beingness, our ontological self, our sense of self, our feeling self, our sense of embodiment, our home within quality. There's a sense of our beingness. We're home within. We're connected to ourselves. That's a safe, calm, peaceful, easy feeling, I guess. So the beingness is there. Now, if your beingness is there, that means the baby felt safe enough for it to be there. He didn't have to exile it, freeze it up, make it turn to stone, metaphorically speaking. Um, so in myths and fairy tales, they show the loss or the exiling of the beingness when they personify the beingness, create a picture or a symbol of our beingness, like a princess, like Snow White, like Rapunzel, like Echo. Okay, and these the maiden king morphs into a swan and flies away. Okay, one's in the tower. Okay, one's locked in the glass box, etc. So our beingness is kind of unavailable to us, and we feel as a result the jargon is flat affect. Associated with the feeling of flat affect with the loss of our beingness is that the pin goes in the collar, and under the pin it's considered. So we feel not fully real and alive under the collar. I'm in the park here, so there'll be a few interruptions here. Okay. Some people might sit right near me or not. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's. I'm just playing some a light-hearted, friendly sort of song in the background. A pop song from the I don't know 80s, 70s or 80s. By he's sort of a one-hit wonder guy, Jerry Doucette. One hit. Um, um, well, two hits. This one here called Nobody, and his main one called Mama Let Him Play. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Mama Let Him Play. So yeah, in that song, the that's about a little kid who wanted to play with the guitar or something. The mother's very controlling and said, "No, don't touch that." The father stepped in, intervened. "No, Mama, let him play." That's a very positive role that the father can play. If the mother's too possessive and engulfing and demanding, and the mother's afraid that the child be autonomous and happy and not need her, she may scare the child, punish the child, say, "Don't play with the guitar. That's no good." He thinks he's no good. Then the child needs a connection to the mother. So to have the connection to the mother, he won't be autonomous. He won't be happy. He won't be successful. So that kid will be self-defeating. Um, he'll self-sabotage his chance for happiness. He'll be loyal to the mother because the memory is he never got enough love with the mother to be himself. So he's still stuck in an archaic place where he's waiting for mother's love, but it's all very conditional. The mother said, "Well, I don't know if I'll love you, baby. Um, Number one, don't be yourself. Don't be autonomous. Don't grow. Don't individuate. Don't find your autonomy. Don't be happy." Number one, so the child is stuck in sort of that mode already. So, so to maintain that loyalty, to maintain that imprint, script, schema, traumatic script, psychic structure, internal working model, okay, he's going to stay dysfunctional. He'll be unhappy. Now, the father on the side here saw what's going on here. The father charged him, "No, uh-uh, back off, possessive, demanding mother here. Let my son play. Mom, let him play." That was a big hit. That was his main hit. I forgot about that. Mama, let him play. And so that's a very positive role that the father can engage in. The father can't do what the mother's supposed to do, but he can protect the child if the mother's being abusive. He can encourage the child in other ways. So that's a huge help. That's a huge hope for the child to get father's protection and guidance like that. If the mother's too demanding and clinging, "Mom, let him play." And this was a sort of a second hit called Nobody. Um, Not even sure what it's about. I haven't checked the lyrics about this one, but it's just a fun little summary kind of a melody like that. I don't know too much about him. I think he just had two albums. On each album, he had the one hit. It has a very pop, 70s pop feel to it, doesn't it? So that's a very good father. I think that scene of the father interrupting the engulfing, possessive, demanding mother, controlling mother. Look, darling, back off. He wants to experiment, play with the guitar. Let him play. Let him play. Let him play some rock and roll. Um, some mothers, you know, they're afraid to be alone. They didn't get their needs met with their mother. So if the mother didn't get her needs with her mother back when she was a baby, she still has this hope for it. So when the baby comes on the scene, she may say to the baby, you take care of me. She parentifies the baby. You come for me. Don't let me feel alone. Don't be autonomous. I got to be the center. I got to be your world. You give me supply. You give me attention. You make it all about me. I don't want to feel. I want to feel important. So you sabotage your happiness, and I feel important. I feel strong, and I'll be the center. And you'll give me narcissistic supply, and you'll stand in symbolically for the missing mother who should have supplied to me. You'll supply to me. So the child didn't get his needs met. He's got this deep imprint called conditional love, where at first he's got to mirror the mother, take care of her, and wait until she feels satisfied, and somehow maybe turn around and love the child in return. So he's going to spend his whole life with this curse, imprint, deep belief, and he'll be dysfunctional. And without consciousness, he can carry his whole life, remain dysfunctional, waiting for mother to feel satisfied. She's never satisfied. No baby can make up for what her mother didn't get when she was a baby herself. No baby can correct the impairment that the mother experienced when she herself had been a baby in her nursery time back in her time back then. No current baby can heal a traumatized mother. It can't happen. No way. But the mother puts that expectation on the child. Child, you make up and heal me. You fix me, child. You cure me, child. You heal me, child. She has like a demand. Um, oh my God, yeah. Just before coming out here, I never really paid attention to the lyrics to an April Wine. We have three songs on our soundtrack by the band April Wine, and I just noticed the lyrics just before coming out. Somebody did a karaoke thing. Oh, let's take a look at it. I never noticed the lyrics. The lyrics to Before the Dawn, a great song by April Wine. Um, it's kind of like it kind of expresses the baby's abandonment, depression, his rage, his pain, his desire, his pleading, his begging for the mother. Right? So should we play? Um, okay. Now, of course, so let's say it's a boy. A boy is born, and he didn't get his needs met because the mother was demanding on the baby. Okay, so that baby didn't get his needs met. He grows up, and then he's gonna find a woman with the same kind of narcissistic personality of his mother, a copy of his mother. Okay, but he's stuck with that repetition compulsion. He somehow thinks if the baby's traumatized, if the baby boy's traumatized by his evil queen in the Snow White, the queen, we'll get to. I want to talk about that Snow White story a little bit today. Um, so I want to do a preview in this video of an upcoming quote, 2966, about the Snow White story, about envy. So envy is one of our topics, up to 62 topics, and I remember about 4 years ago we posted some quotes on envy. Always a difficult topic, and it's kind of been silent for so long. So I want to finally pick up and add a couple of quotes on this topic of envy, as conveyed through the Grimm's, the famous Grimm's, 1800 something Grimm's tale, the Snow White one. So we'll get there. Okay, so let's say a mother has a boy, okay, and she's doing all these old cunning tales. Meet my needs, kid, or you compensate for what I didn't get. He can't do it. He's gonna fail. That boy's needs didn't get met. Now, the mother sometimes the mother doesn't remember that she's been traumatized, so she may actually traumatize her own son in her attempt to remember that she's been traumatized because she doesn't remember. When we don't remember, we repeat, hoping to remember. If we don't remember or make the inference towards memory, repeating and working. So memory, repeating, and working through it. If the mother doesn't remember that she was traumatized, okay, she identifies with the aggressor and replays it onto her child so she can see and the acting out of what happened to her, but she doesn't remember. So she remembers with acting out. She remembers like with action language, behavioralism. It's called acting out. Okay, so she's going to act out the trauma that was inflicted on her. She'll pay the aggressive mother, use her own child as a standard for her back then, shame her own child the way she had been shamed in her attempt to remember that she had been shamed. She's trying to remember. So she's going to imitate the mother, called the Faustian deal, the Faustian bargain, the Faustian pact, i.e., identification with the aggressor. So she crosses over like that, becomes the aggressive mother, uses her own baby as a standard for her back then in her nursery, and replays what happened to her. Okay, so originally she needed love. Mother said no. She becomes the no mother, casts her baby into the role of her wanting love, and shames her own baby. Okay, and she's the shaming mother. This repetition, this reenactment, is an attempt for her to remember that's what happened to her. So she may shame her own baby in an ongoing um, effort to try to finally remember that that's what happened to her. But if she doesn't remember, she just keeps repeating it, you know. And then that's just part A. She really is angry at the mother. So as she's shaming her baby, who's playing her, and she plays the shaming mother, at the same time, on another level, says Grotstein, okay, with hocus pocus, autofocus, double focus, auto hypnosis at the same time, as she's shaming her own baby, whom she thinks is her, she thinks on another level at the same time that her baby's her mother hurting her. Now she's angry at her mother, whom the baby's now playing. So the baby's going to first be a proxy of her, then flip flop. She sees the baby as her mother hurting her. So she shames her own baby, then is angry and hates her own baby. Okay, so first the baby played her and she was the shaming mother. Then flip flop, she plays herself and makes the baby play the mother. Now she's angry at the baby. So there's an old famous quote from long, long ago, which says, a little slight paraphrase: very traumatized people hate the ones they hurt. And so she's going to hurt, she's going to shame the baby and then hate the baby. Okay, because that's what happened to her. She was shamed and she hates her mother and she flips around. Because the fusion, baby and mother are one, it flips around. And there's no time in that brain, and in that mentation, it's called primary process. Alles Waterland, things can flip flop and shape shift and twist and morph. Okay, primary mentation. So let's say this boy grows up. What's he gonna do? He's gonna look for a girlfriend, okay, who has the same personality like the mother. Now he's desperately wanting to um, get mother's love in the past. So he hopes that if this woman in the present reminds him of the mother of the past, that very same mother who did all that pain on him, he hopes that this woman, who's going to be a carbon copy, a parent copy, quote unquote, of the mother back then, he expects finally he's going to get his needs met from his mother. So he'll be nice to her, try to save her, please her, do whatever she wants, beg her, cry like this, but he kind of expects to be loved in return. Okay, now remember, this girlfriend is the same like the mother, psychologically speaking. It's not going to happen. So here's a guy in the song, April Wine's song, Before the Dawn, doesn't know this. So he finds a woman who reminds him of his mother. He's spellbound. Just one look. That's all it took. Love at first sight, infatuation, puppy love, instant love, just spellbound, love trance, hypnosis. Wow, you're the one. I've been looking for you. I've been waiting for you. No, that person is a catalyst to bring up the wiring, the neural wiring laid down with the mother, and it's unfinished, unresolved, unmet. So that person just brings up the wiring. Then you transfer, get the feeling of the bliss embedded in the wiring. Remember, all babies feel bliss when they're one with the mother. So embedded in the wiring is a blissful feeling, but we don't remember this. So you transfer that blissful feeling to the person or present. Yeah, that's called transfer and stuff. Oh, what's that? Okay, give me a second. I don't want people accidentally thinking I'm filming them or something. So I got to turn it around. People walk in front of me. Okay, so the baby lays down neurocircuitry. Um, the interpersonal leads to intrapsychic. Baby's brain is malleable, laying down all the neurocircuitry by the interaction. Interpersonal becomes intrapsychic. Okay, the stencil, the template, the schemata, the blueprint, traumatic script, whatever you want to call it, endopsychic structure, intrapsychic society, okay, psychic template, whatever you want to call it. There's some kind of set thing in there. Okay, the interpersonal leads to this set thing, this blueprint kind of thing. Now this is unresolved, it's unfinished, so sort of suspended animation in a timeless frozen suspense like that. So you're waiting, constant yearning, constant craving. Remember, there's no time in that brain. So this is a timeless, eternal waiting. So you're waiting, and decades later, oh, there's somebody who reminds him of the mother. Same kind of personality. That's going to flare up the blissful feeling that the baby did feel with the mother before everything got frozen. Now it's kind of alive again. And this time the hope is there that now the person of the present is like an emotional reincarnation of the mother in the past. Okay, the blissful feeling, you transfer that blissful feeling that you had with the mother but forgot. You transfer that feeling, associate, assign, place, displace to the person of the present. That's called transfer and stuff. Transfer, not love, it's transfer and stuff. This love at first sight is called transfer stuff. You transfer the blissful feeling of this blissful oneness to the mother, to the person of the present, and say, wow, I'm hypnotized. You're the one, you're everything. Okay, now, so you don't even know that person. Okay, sidebar here. Love is at second sight, not first sight. The first sight stuff, that's the transfer stuff. If you finally pull back the transfers and get to know the person of the present for who they are, and then get to know them, that then you're beginning love at second sight. Love begins at second sight, not first sight. The first sight stuff, um, that's the great hope that finally going to get your needs met back in the past. So the fellow, so let's say this fellow here. Oh, 1 second. I got another. 1 second. Yeah, it's a bit of a it's a holiday time, so the park to my I didn't know if it was going to be busier or what, but it turns out to be slightly because the school's out, so it's not that. Oh, 1 second. Okay, let's wait till these people pass here. 1 second. Oh, it's busy in front of me lately. All right. Okay. Now, so okay, transfer and stuff. So the blissful feeling you felt with the mother, but forgot. Nope, we don't remember what we felt as babies. We don't remember when we were babies and how we felt when we were babies in a blissful state with the mother. Even if it was just in the uterus time, this blissful oneness in the uterus, oceanic feeling, oceanic oneness, oceanic ecstasy. One guy calls it unio mystica, unico mystica, participation mystique. It's a blissful oneness. It's a fusional state, a symbiotic state, a merged state. Mother infant one, the mother thinks, the baby thinks the mother is him. So the power of the mother, that's him. That's called infantile megalomania, the megalomaniacal self, because he doesn't know the mother's a separate person. He thinks the mother's like a part of him or an extension of him, psychologically speaking. So he's got power. His needs automatically met. Magical thinking. He thinks because he had a need that magically got met. He's some kind of magician. So he's got magical thinking called omnipotence of thought or unconditional hallucinatory omnipotence, blissful feeling, no time, no space, dispersed, floating around. He's in a weird feeling. He's in a weird feeling, right? But it's a blissful feeling. They call it ocean, a blissful oneness feeling, um, a blissful oneness. Now, this blissful oneness is in uterus, and it's meant to continue for the first 4 to 5 months. But a lot of babies are not getting it the first 4 to 5 months. A lot of babies, too many babies, are being betrayed. They're not getting it. The baby expects to get an extended blissful oneness of the mother. Mother betrays the baby. Okay, so that's a sort of a branch where we go down. Like, why are so many mothers betraying their babies during that critical time? That's a huge one. Um, One theory is that if the cord and the placenta are removed from the baby, that's kind of like the bridge to the mother. So the baby comes out, depends on the bridge to the mother. Now wait a minute, the bridge is gone. So where's the mother? Mother, you abandoned me. You abandoned me. Okay. Pin goes in a collar. The aliveness of his beingness, turns to stone, wooden, flat, numb, petrified, uh, or it's considered distant from you. So it's exiled. Go I know not whither, bring back I know not. So the beingness can morph into a princess, which becomes a swan, which flies away. And so the person won't have their beingness, and that's considered a birth trauma, I think. And then if other things happen, and then when the babies return, because the because there won't be that connection of rapport. The rapport between the baby and the mother was crushed, so the mother can't reestablish it. Now the baby feels, why is this mother so misattuned? Why does she misunderstand me? Why doesn't she get what I'm saying? Why is she gaslighting me? Why is she double binding me? Why is there such a frustration with it? Why doesn't she ever understand my needs? She's supposed to read my mind and meet my needs, so to speak. Like she's supposed to be attuned. It's called attunement on the same track. Mother picks it up and meets and supplies. Mother gets it. Oh, baby, you feel this? I got it. You can count on me. I'll respond and meet your needs, baby. I get it. You wanted a little adjustment. I'll do the adjustment. You're not hungry now. Fine, I won't expect you to feed right now. The mother will know and meet the needs in a flowing, smooth, back and forth flow, rhythm of safety, attunement. It's attunement on the same track. But if the child freezes up the soul, and then you got to, and then um, the the oneness that was there in the uterus um, often cannot be reestablished if the baby's frozen already, emotionally speaking, and the mother needs the bonding hormones between the two. But those hormones dissipate shortly after birth. So when the baby's removed, the hormones go away. Then now the attachment doesn't properly take place. That's called a traumatic attachment, an insecure attachment, disturbed attachment, reactive attachment, anxious, avoidant, unformulated, unorganized, whatever you want to call it. So there's a messy attachment. The child can't have a normal, secure attachment because the hormones were wiped away. The mother produced hormones for that attachment to take place. So that now the proper bonding won't take place, the proper symbiosis won't take place. Okay, the hormones were needed to create the continuity of the intimacy of the oneness that he had in the uterus to continue in the land version. Hold on a sec. Oh, a lot of traffic in front of me this time around. One sec. One more sec here. Yeah, it's easier to do this video without hundreds of kids all around. Yeah, my fourth video, my fourth outing in a row here. It's nice to finally do some outdoor videos. My goodness, yeah. Um, okay, so when the baby's suckling and the natural feeding, the nerves in the child, something about the mucosal nerves in the child while he's suckling, line up with the nerves in the nipple to the breast of the mother. It's like a cable there. They play the song "I've Got a Line on You" by Spirit. So it's meant to be like a line there. That's called the entrainment. There's a continuous track, so the signals can go and communicate uh, through the nerves like that. Okay. Now, if the skin to skin is broken, okay, if the if you put a towel around the baby, the hormones go away. You wash the baby and all this. Okay, where's the skin to skin? It's meant to be skin to skin contact. So you leave the cord, you leave the placenta, place the baby with the hormones, leave the smell, leave the muck, leave it all there, place the baby on the bosom, skin to skin. The room is warm, no extremely bright lights. Um, keep the temperature of the room warm. Okay, disclaimer: I'm not a doctor and all this, but um, so you want to preserve the blissful oneness. Babies need an extended Garden of Eden, Shambhala, Shangri-La, Nirvana, Paradise, Avalon, whatever you want to call it. He needs that paradisical, blissful oneness called blissful oneness. He needs that blissful oneness to continue. Okay, so he's making a huge transition from the water world to the land world. He's in a blissful state. Okay? Leaving the cord, leaving the placenta allows him the time and the transition, allows him to support the necessary strength, connection, continuity, attachment to the mother um, to make that transition. It takes a couple of days, so you leave the cord and the placenta for those couple of days. They'll drop off their own cord. Okay, and then the only time you're ever allowed to remove the cord prematurely, somebody said, is after the cord turns white and it flattens out like a pancake, because that means the blood circulation, the oxygen, the food, the nutrients, all the cycling that goes through the cord finally has done its complete cycling through process. Then it might be okay, she said, because the cord is still pulsating. It's kind of like alive, kind of in a way, and it's still sending oxygen nutrients to the child. What are you going to, indigenous people have been saying it for thousands of years. The placenta and the cord, you got to be kidding. That's like the child's support system, their guardian animal, their power animal, their guardian angel spirit, power. What are you taking that away for? Why are you taking that away for? That's a betrayal. That's what we mean by betrayal trauma. If the mother allows that to happen, that's a betrayal trauma. She betrayed the baby. She abandoned the baby and betrayed the baby. So that's a birth trauma like that. And then when the baby's returned, he's trying to connect, trying to connect. But wait a minute, the skin to skin is not there. So the communication between the emotions in the baby's body and the emotions in the mother's body and the skin to skin between the two function like a bridge between the communication of the affect between the two. That's missing. So you won't have the body to body communication. Okay? The mother will be um, won't know the signal. She won't know how to hold the baby, or she'll be frustrated. She'll hold the baby in an angry, in an annoying way or something. Baby's frustrated, then she gets frustrated, then blames the baby. Baby, she said, baby doesn't like me or something. Then she transfers her rejecting mother. Baby, look, just like my mother rejected me, my baby rejects me. Baby's not rejecting the mother. The baby's angry because the mother's not meeting the baby's needs. Anger is an expression of unmet needs. Mother, I don't hate you. I'm in pain and I'm screaming because you're not meeting my needs. You're mishandling me. You're misattuned. You're malattuned. You're not picking up the signals here. Where's the symbiotic oneness? Where's the merging? Where's the fusion? Where's the blissful oneness? We're supposed to be attuned. We're supposed to be two peas in a pod. Like we're supposed to be, um, and then if the child looks in the mother's eyes, okay, he's going to understand himself how he sees himself reflected through his mother's eyes. So if the mother's in a bad mood at the baby, rejecting towards the baby, okay, he's going to reject himself. He's going to treat himself the way he sees himself through his mother's eyes. You know, so you need those three: the body to body, the natural feeding, nursing, and the eye to eye, mother's loving gaze kind of thing. That's all gone. So you got the birth trauma, then you got this relational trauma. Okay, that's called relational trauma or interpersonal trauma, or because it's attachment theory, it's attachment trauma. Okay, so you got the shock trauma of the birth, the abandonment. Okay, whoa, and then the shock like that, and there's constant annoying interaction with the mother. Baby's in struggling, fighting. He's got to make compromise. He's got to make defense mechanisms. He's got to hallucinate that the mother's not a monster. She's a goddess. He's tricks psychic splitting. He's got to identify with her and be loyal to her. That someday, he'll find in the future. He'll find a copy of his mother and fix them. And he'll fix the mother in the past. So back to the song here, Before the Dawn. So let's say the fellow um, had this experience with his mother where she either shamed her own baby because she was trying to remember that she'd been shamed, but she doesn't remember, so she repeats in an attempt to remember. Sometimes the mother does this because she wants to protest and show up the mother and expose the mother. Look, world, look at what my mother did to me. I'm going to become her. I'll place my baby in the role of me. Look, everybody, watch everybody. You see how negative I am towards my baby? That's what my mother did to me. I want to expose my mother. I want to show her up. So some mothers have this protest fantasy that if they show up the mother by treating her own baby badly, that's a pyrrhic revenge, right? A pyrrhic kind of thing. Um, Italianic impulse, Italianic feeling, pyrrhic revenge feeling, whatever you want to call it, identification with aggressor. She's showing the world that her own baby was hurt back then, and she imitates the mother of what the mother did to her. Look at what my mother did to me. So she's got to shame her own baby to tell the world that that's what happened to her. Then she expects the baby to magically heal her. Okay, and then or just other little things. She wants to use a baby as a pawn in her battle with her partner or something. or she didn't want the baby or something, or she's envious of the baby because she thinks the baby's gonna have a better life than her. So there's already a lot of problems. Um, so that's the Snow White story, right? Okay, O cunning tale. So the baby had a great hope. It fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was within, O cunning tale that let no witness in. So let's say that it's a boy here. I want to cue up the song here. I wasn't planning on playing it. Um, Actually, I thought I'd just have it like as a fun kind of song. But now I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we can include it in a psychological context. Okay, so let's say this boy grows up. Now, so several things are taking place. One is he still has the hope that he'll fix his mother. So he'll find a carbon copy of his mother in the girlfriend. So he'll scan, scan, scan. Oh, click. Just one look. You're her. Now he's going to try to save her. He'll do everything for her, just like how the baby will do everything to fix his mother. The baby will dance to any tune to try to save his mother, but no baby can save the mother. So he'll continue this effort. He's going to continue to try to save and cure his mother. So he'll find a girl that's just like the mother and do everything he can, self-sacrifice, do all these kind of things. He'll try every which way he can to please her, save her, placate her, give her everything, shower her, or whatever. He's going to try every which way to make her happy so that she'll return the love, kind of thing. Now remember, he's doing this because he doesn't remember that's what happened to him. So when he chooses a woman like his mother, and he's going to feel so hurt and disappointed, that's for him to know that's how he felt with the mother. So we recreate to get our memory and feeling. Now in the song Before the Dawn, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. This song is about him trying harder and harder, pleading and crying. Come on, I think about he's pleading to the woman. He'll do everything to the woman. And there's even like a edgy line there where he says either he's saying, "I'm gonna be a master salesman. I'm gonna convince you that that I'm worthy of your love. So I'll convince you somehow." He's going to try so hard before and by morning and by sunset or something before the dawn. Um, I'm gonna prove to you. We don't know. I don't think there's an implied threat or something, but maybe that's one of the reasons the song. It's a good song, but it's not that well known. I think, ironically, right? It does remind me of the one of the Twilight Zone episodes. There was a man in there who was very demanding, controlling on his wife, and wanted his wife to read his mind. You know, oh no, that's a different story. Hang on. Actually, in that story, in the Twilight Zone, she was the role of, she was trying to fix him, so it's kind of flipped. She was playing the role of the abused son, trying to save him, the abusive mother. Okay, forget the Twilight Zone for a moment. It's getting busier here. Um, yeah, this strange new phone that I have blots out background noises. You don't hear conversations taking place around me. You don't even hear concerts and construction. You hear nothing, right? So it's a weird phone. Um, okay, so an abused boy um, didn't get his needs met. Um, wanted to save the mother, so he'll try to save the mother. He still has the need for mother's love, but to get there, he's got to win it somehow. It's all very conditional. I got to fix her first. I got to save her first, and then she'll love me in return. That's what he kind of thinks like that. So in the Before the Dawn song, he talks about how once he met a girl that reminded him of his mother, he tried so hard to win her love, and she mocked him. She laughed at him. Ah, who cares about you? That's what the mother said. That's what the mother did to him as a baby. He's trying that rejection he felt by the girl. If that's for him to know that he was rejected by his mother, okay. So the mother was a wicked queen, witch, whatever, Snow White, Cinderella, all those characters. So in myths and fairy tales, um, when they say there's no good, the mother died, okay, meaning at birth, um, the good mother in the uterus, that time was over. Now, when the mother betrays the baby, suddenly the same woman is seen as a wicked witch, narcissistic, envious, bitter, like that. It's the same woman kind of thing. So we'll get there in a minute. Okay, so in this song, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't bring the lyrics. So in the song, he once I once met a girl just like you, and she dumped me and mocked me, laughed me, and now here it is again, repetition compulsion. He found another girl, just like that past girl, and both reminded him of his mother. But this time he's going to be more determined, more angry. He's pleading, he's crying, he's trying to convince her how desperate he is and how urgent it is. He can really feel that kind of transference of what was going on with him with the mother. What he says in the song is kind of like what was going on with him and the mother. So this song is kind of like it's letting the protagonist embedded in the song, the protagonist in the song. It's meant to know that all that distress he's talking about with the girl, that's for him to know that that's how he felt with his mother back then. That Masterson calls it abandonment, depression, rage, helplessness, powerless, hopelessness, pleading, all this stuff. So that's he's kind of this song is kind of like that about that. I didn't notice it before actually. And then okay, let's bring up the speaker here. Okay, hopefully it works here. If you don't make out the lyrics, I can always look it up here. Glory, 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 it's not too loud, eh? Let's see if I can raise the volume here. Oh, her name's Lori, I guess. Just noticed that. Lori or Lorelei. Okay, let's try again. Okay, Before the Dawn by the band April Wine. Oh, son of a gun. I've got this very fickle, I've got a problem with the speaker here. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's try again. Okay, Before the Dawn by April Wine, sung by a guy named Brian Greenway. Glory, 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 glory light. Sunshine in the night, making everything worthwhile. You know I need your love, pretty lady, help me now. But do you love me? I got to know, I've got to know now. How long ago I had a lady, she looked a lot like you. She laughed in my face, said, such a disgrace, I had to leave, couldn't play the fool. Here I am again in love, baby, I've been this way before. I need your touch, need it so much. I need you, I do. Baby, baby, be my friend. You know I'm gonna love you all I can. Before the dawn is breaking, I'm gonna change your mind. Yeah, yeah. And you love me, baby. Come on, love me. Come on, love
would you know how many nights I've cried? I see your face in my mind. I've tried, but I just can't find a way. I need you babe. You tell me you know I give you every little piece of my heart. Before the dawn is breaking, I'm gonna change your mind. Yeah, yeah. And you love me, baby. Come on, love me. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like if you read the lyrics and listen to the song, it does have he does a good job, I think, of artistically representing the baby's desperation, the baby's efforts, the baby's cries, pleas, desperation, and he's kind of transferring that um, to the girl in the present, still in that same place where he transferred that battle, that cry, that desperation, that pleading, the anger, the rage. He that this colicky screaming, "Come on, mother! What do you want, mother? I'm doing everything I can for you, mother. Come on, love me, mother. Please love me, mother." Okay, he transferred this abandonment depression with the mother, this persecutory anxiety, this desperation anxiety. He transferred that original dynamic with the mother to the girl in the present, who is a catalyst and a reminder of what happened in the past. This is transference life he's engaging in. This kind of thing he's saying to a girl in the present, we can't say that's love. This is an infantile babyhood desperation to get his needs met back then. So he's um, no girl would go for that. Geez, you don't see me. You're really too clinging and demanding. You expect way too much. He's gonna say. So the first girl dumped him. She's gonna dump him. He's gonna keep doing this and get dumped and get dumped. So now we can play Warren Zevon's song. If you won't leave me, I'll find somebody who will. So he'll keep finding girls who will dump him. Um, Now, one day, so in this next song here, one day a girl said, "All right, fine." No, in this other song, one day there was a girl that said, "All right, fine," and then he freaked out. Then he freaked out. He couldn't. It was too much. So he dumped her. After all his efforts to get her, he dumped her. No, that doesn't. No, that doesn't quite. Okay, that's a different. That's something different. Yeah, let's leave that one in. Now let's just keep it simple. So the before the wine, sorry, before the dawn by the band April Wine. The lead singer Miles Goodwin just passed away about a year ago or 2 years ago or something. Um, so, but his number one man was Brian Greenway, the guitarist, and he's the one who wrote and sang in that song there. Ironically, I think that might be the band's best song. That one there. To tell you the truth, yeah. But we play April Wine's "Won't Walk Down That Road No More" about codependency. Talk to me about trying to comfort a child. Um, and this one here, Before the Dawn, um, where maybe most people can relate to some point in their life when they met that one and they really wish, geez, you're really the one. Um, so it's unrequited love. So this is a dramatic example of unrequited love, but it's not love. It's listen. Oh, Somebody just took a photo of me. He was trying to get. I think he was trying to get the decoration, but he got me. Where are we here? How's the audio? I can't get the connection. I got a loose wire here. It's not properly.
Glory, Laura, glory, Laura light. Sunshine in the night, making everything worthwhile. You know I need your love, pretty lady, help me now.
Maybe what I can. Let me try this. Let me just use. Let me just try the embedded the embedded speaker on the phone, the old phone. So this was my old phone. It kind of crashed on me. Great little phone, by the way, the Honor 8S. Um, it's light as a feather, fits in your pocket easily. It's sort of a kid's phone, they said, but it's suffered the elements. Almost 7 years, I think. Um, 1,200 videos, 10,000 quotes. Um, Great little phone. I miss it immensely. It's kind of crashed on me, but maybe I can still use it as a music player. Um, let's try this. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Glory, Laura, glory, Laura light. Sunshine in the night, making everything worthwhile. You know I need your love, pretty lady, help me now. But do you love me? I got to know, I've got to know now. How long ago I had a lady, she looked a lot like you. She laughed to my face, hey, such a disgrace. I had to leave, couldn't play the fool. Here I am again, well, baby, I've been this way before. I need your touch, need it so much. I need you, I need you, I do. Baby, baby, be my friend. You know I'm gonna love you all I can. Before the dawn is breaking, I wanna change your mind, yeah, yeah. And you love me, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. If you spend a lifetime thinking of the day, would you know how many nights I've cried? I see your face in my mind. I've tried, but I just can't find a way. I need you, babe. Babe, you're tearing me apart. You know I give you every little piece of my heart. Before the dawn is breaking, I'm gonna change your mind. Yeah. And you love me, baby. Come on, love me. Come on.
Yeah, I'm. My guess is he means he's going to persuade her. He's going to be like a master salesman. I'm going to sell you that I'm your Mister. I'm the one for you. I'm going to convince you somehow. If he thinks he's going to accomplish that um, in the in the with the in the sexual area, I don't. That's not going to work. But he might think that. If there is some kind of if it's beyond that, obviously not. Then you're getting into like an abusive kind of thing. Then you're getting into the Twilight Zone kind of area. But I think it's just about abandonment depression. The baby pleads and cries. That song, more than any other song, I think kind of conveys that desperation. So I'm gonna, for the time being, link this song to the phrase abandonment depression, what the baby feels with the mother. This umbrella term for all these confusing, painful feelings: helpless, powerless, hopeless, rage, shame, a lot of desperation, a lot of pain. Um, it's like a life and it's almost like a life and death issue for the baby. If he, the baby feels he's going to be a goner, the baby thinks if the mother doesn't love him, he's a goner. He's terrorized like this. He'll physically survive, but emotionally he doesn't know that, right? His brain is sending him lots of cortisol. He feels very unsafe. He's got no way to regulate himself. He can't soothe himself. He goes to the mother for soothing, but the mother's causing the pain. Now he's an emotional refugee from the love that he seeks. So what a mess like this. So he grows up, finds a woman who's just like his mother and continues. He's still there. He didn't leave that place. He didn't leave that psychic house. It follows him everywhere, wherever he goes. It's a timeless memory. And the present is just, the present is a reflection of his inner state. As above, so below. So this stuff he's talking about in his present life, that's a reflection of his memories, of his inner state. As above, so below. The outer is a reflection of the inner state. So we're getting a clue to the inner state of his memory of with the mother. That kind of desperation is the song. Yeah, it's funny. I've always liked that song, but I've never actually paused to read the lyrics until somebody posted that karaoke. Kind of surprised me. A karaoke for that song. Oh my goodness. Okay, I wanna. Okay, give me 1 second. The printing shop was closed. So this is an experiment here. So I posted I put it on my phone here. Um, so I'm gonna do a preview of the Snow White quotes coming up when we get to 2966. But I want to do a preview just to prepare for that time. So this will be like my first run through it. Um, Unexpected little book. I never noticed it before. Not too well known book about envy. A lot of people would avoid any kind of book about envy. The the author really missed it. The title of her book, she was way off, I think. So I'm referring to a book called a very good book called The Snow White Syndrome. But the phrase, what are you talking about? Okay, she tried a drastic idea. She wanted to co-opt self-defeating behavior, self-sabotaging behavior, and call it the Snow White Syndrome. What? Um, well, you, you stay defeating because your mother's so envious of you. So to not incur your mother's envy, well, be less successful than your mother. Um, Let her feel that she's better than you. Then you don't shine and please your mother. That's a Snow White syndrome. A little confusing kind of thing. Snow White complex might be a little closer. Anyways, it's just about self-defeating behavior. So the story's all about envy. Okay. Let me just read the quotes first, then I'll comment. Okay, the story of Snow White, the fairy tale, the Grimm's, 1918 something, 18 whatever it is, one of the Grimm's tales, fairy tales. Been around a long time, right? Now it's just published in 1800 something, but it's been around for almost 10,000 years it's through the speaking to the oral tradition, and then finally, the Grimm's brothers went around to all these villages. Hey, ladies, all these stories you're telling, we got to write it down finally. These are incredible stories. Where'd you learn this story? Well, I learned it from my grandmother, and my grandmother learned it from her grandmother, and that grandmother learned it. It's been passed down for generation upon generation. So they managed to collect whatever 200, whatever, 200 to 300 of these tales. I forgot the number. One of them is the Snow White one. The story of Snow, or the fairy tale Snow White, is an example of a mother's extreme reaction to being replaced. The tale illuminates the motive behind such extreme response, i.e., envy. Envy is the hidden drive that moves this story along. Okay, let me do this way. Okay, Snow White is not some kind of psychological essay, nor some kind of prescription for behavior. Let's back up here. It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. The tellers of fairy tales know that emotions like envy are considered taboo. We are usually forbidden to acknowledge and talk about them. Therefore, fairy tales tell their stories in the way our dreams tell their stories, revealing what is unacceptable. Important issues about mothers and daughters lie in the fairy tale in disguised form. So the trauma doesn't come to us directly when we wake up in the morning. It's kind of veiled. It's kind of covered over. Then you got to unpack it. That's how difficult it is to accept it. Well, just like in daily life, it's so hard to talk about envy. So, well, let's create a fairy tale kind of thing. Okay, hang on. Okay, Snow White is not a story. Snow White is not a story of the wicked queen's actual mirror. Or not only, sorry. Okay, Snow White is not only a story of the wicked queen's actual mirror, it is also the story of the absence of her motherly mirroring. If the wicked queen were a good mother, she would be Snow White's mirror. She would then reflect Snow White's beauty, offering Snow White a positive image, a positive mirror of herself. A child needs an attentive, accepting, sincerely complimentary, um, supportive parent in order to learn to perceive experience, and trust her own feelings. Snow White didn't have such a parent. Snow White had what is commonly called a narcissistic mother, a self centered and self preoccupied mother. The mother envies her daughter when she sees her daughter has opportunities, freedom, and fun that she, the mother, never had. The mother may not even be aware of her envy. The first way a child tries to handle the shock of her mother's anger is to split up the image of her mother in the mind. Okay, good mother loves me, bad mother doesn't, so bad mother isn't really my mother. Okay, so what are the coping strategies babies engage in if the mother rejects the baby? So the baby comes up. I'm not gonna love this baby. I'm envious. I never got love. I'm supposed to give love when I never got it. I hate that. Why should I give love? I should get. Does my baby have goodness? I hate this idea because it would it would it would mean that I'm forgiving my mother for what she did to me. I can't forgive my mother for what she did to me, so I can't love my baby. I hate my child's goodness. She's going to think. So hence the wicked witch, the wicked stepmother is like this. So the wicked stepmother cannot love the baby because that would betray her feelings of how angry she feels around her not being seen by her mother. And now she's supposed to suddenly brush it off and love her baby. She can't do it. So how does the and plus all the other ideas um, uh, that why should she give love when she never got it herself? And then theoretically, if the child were loved, the child would be happy and be free. No way, she never got that. Hatred of the good. She just has so much of a conflict. What's going on in the mother's mind is her anger at her mother. She's not emotionally present for the baby. She can't love the baby because she didn't get the love uh, that she needed with her mother to be able to be in a place to be able to love her baby, i.e., differentiation, i.e., having her beingness, i.e., a psychological birth, i.e., autonomy. So that from the mother, having been loved by the mother. So the mother needs to feel safe with her mother to separate from her, individuate from her, and then have a sense of beingness. And you need the beingness and the goal, the ball, and the feelings and ethics, morality, and love, the beingness to be able to love the baby. All that's missing. She just crossed over, became the mother who shamed herself. That she shames her baby because the baby's going to play her, and she's the shaming mother. She can't. She doesn't have the psychological structure to love her baby. When the baby comes on the scene, the impulse is to shame her baby because that's what happened to her because she became her in the Faustian deal, the Faustian bargain, the Faustian pact, i.e., the jargon is identification of the aggressor. It's a desperate thing that the mother did. When her mother abused her, she became that abusive mother. So then she got a baby. Then she gets a baby comes on the scene. The impulse is to replay what happened to her, to recreate what happened to her. But this time she used the baby to stand in as a proxy for her meanwhile, she plays the aggressive mother. So in the reenactment, since her own baby's going to play her and she plays the shaming mother, the behavior is she's going to shame her own baby because that's the timelessness of the infinite loop of what happened to her. She was shamed by her mother, but she becomes the shaming mother, uses the baby to stand in for her because she doesn't want to feel that she's shaming herself. So she needs to shame the baby to make her unaware that she's shaming herself. That's why it's called a Faustian deal. She's selling her soul. Okay? She got to sell her soul like this. So she'll make the baby play her soul, sell the baby's soul, and to make her unaware that she's selling her soul because it's too painful for her to sell her soul. So she sells out her own baby's soul to make her unaware that she's selling out her own soul. That's the Faustian deal. She gets mother's power. She feels powerful, omnipotent. She feels addicted, and very high addiction and gleeful, excited power. She gets that kind of power, the mother. That's the Faustian deal. But she won't have her beingness like this. So she's got to keep on selling her soul like this. Too painful to keep on selling her soul. So she's got to make herself unaware that she's selling her soul by shaming someone, shaming her own child who will stand in and represent her soul. So that's called externalized scapegoating. So she's going to scapegoat the child. In other words, this mother cannot, she can only scapegoat the child. She can't love the child. She's got so much tension and the compulsion to repeat, but she made the crossover. She made that deal. She made the Faustian bargain. Okay, so the child in the meantime thinks the mother's a monster, boar queen, cyclops, guy with the horns, alien. sea monster, take your pick, minotaur, any kind of fighting, enraged kind of creature, and then splits it off. No, that's the baby says to himself, well, I can't relax if my mother's a monster trying to eat me. Um, then hallucinates a goddess to compensate, and then thinks the mother's good like that. So he's got to cover up mother's crime. So he's complicit in this because he's going to cover it up. No, mother's good, but he needs to do this to survive. He's got to trick himself to feel safe to survive and take in the powder stuff. If he admits that the mother's hurting him, he can't admit that. He'd be a goner if he were to really know that. Okay, now play the Twilight Zone episode called Need to Know. Okay, go to the Twilight Zone show called Need. Not a special episode. Don't really recommend it, but it does create the message. So it's just some. The parable was some rural community, like on the field somewhere, a farming community or something. Um, Suddenly, somebody was whispering some unknown truth or something, and when it was whispered, and when people heard it, uh, they had to check themselves into the nut house. They went crazy. They couldn't do it. They couldn't hold the truth. They couldn't accept the truth. To know the truth made them nuts. Literally, they became psychotic. They had to check themselves in the what do they call it again? Um, the funny um, the funny farm, no, whatever they call it, the psych ward or something. So all those people had to check themselves into the psych ward. They went nuts. Okay, that's a parable that the baby would go nuts. He'd go out of his mind. So those people in the Twilight Zone, they went out of their mind. They thought they were, um, uh, they thought they were out of reality. They don't know where they were, right? So that the baby would be like that. So that's why the baby doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to become schizophrenic, delusional, psychotic, autistic. He doesn't want that kind of mess. So to protect his mind, kind of thing, he does that little trick called psychic splitting. No, I'll just tell myself that mother is a goddess, and the mother hurting me. That's not my mother. It's something else. So that's a trick called psychic splitting. Okay, so that's a baby's genius to protect his mind. Now his body's frozen. I mean, he won't feel the joy and the pleasure of the golden ball, the warmth and radiance of his beingness, and the capacity of having a beingness. And if the trauma's before 18 months, he won't even have gratitude in his life. He won't even be able to make eye statements, to tell the truth in his life. He won't even be able to um, um, articulate something he did that he feels badly about. Um, and to apologize by saying he really won't do that again. He's really sorry. He can't make an apology. Love and gratitude will not be able to enter the psychological picture of the traumas before 18 months. So much of the quote unquote human side of being human is not going to be available to him if he's traumatized so early on in 18 months like that. Okay, but anyways, he physically survived. Now he's going to go in a swoon. He'll go in a trance. He'll develop a stinger personality pattern, usually one of the narcissistic patterns, the bully pattern, Iago pattern, lower functioning BPD pattern. Um, just some kids here. Okay, one second. Let me just take a 1 minute break here. Hold on a second. I don't know why I'm starting. Maybe it's the coffee or something. Oh, these are friendly, good, friendly, mild, very friendly kind of kids. Yeah, you can really see. Yeah, you can really see the difference. Some kids are a little angry. Some kids are easygoing, kind of thing, or innocent, playful. Kind of. Okay, hold on a sec. Let's let these kids pass by. Okay, meanwhile, while we're waiting for them to pass by, um, okay, the story of Snow White is an example of a mother's extreme reaction to being replaced. Right? Who's the fairest of them all? Right? Replace. So she's not going to be number one, kind of thing. So that's code for infantile megalomania. She's a little god, little king, little queen. Okay, she's got to feel like she's number one like that. The story illuminates the motive behind such her extreme behavior. Well, envy, hatred of the good, envy, hatred of the good, is the hidden drive that moves this story along. So this is a fairy tale, not some kind of essay or some kind of moralistic preaching about certain behavior, because the storytellers long ago, they couldn't talk about envy openly, but it's there. So we create like dreams. So fairy tales are kind of like dreams, like daydreams, but they're kind of like dreams. How in dreams, it's coded like that. So fairy tales tell their stories in the way our dreams tell their stories, revealing what is unacceptable. Okay, so Snow White is about this issue of the complication between mothers and daughters, what one person calls the electric complex. If the daughter is in battle with her mother, she has the electric complex, and the mother has the Jocasta complex. So Electra and Jocasta are fighting with each other, kind of thing. Okay, Oedipal, famous Oedipal, eternal triangle. So Snow White is not only a story about the woman of the queen's mirror. Um, it's also the story of the absence of her motherly mirroring. Okay, so obviously the mother's supposed to see the child, accept the child, soothe the child, recognize the child. I see you, child. Nature's greatest miracle. What a delight. How wonderful. How delightful. I love you're here. You're amazing. Um, That's called mirroring, right? I recognize what's going on. I can think about what's going on with you. I'm present for you. I see, hear, and feel you. I can soothe you and comfort you. I'm present for you. All that's called mirroring and acceptance. And the child internalizes and records and treats himself the way his mother treated him. The baby's going to treat himself the way the mother's treated him. So in that quote, about a couple of weeks ago, the guy was doing very harmful things to himself. Um, because that was a reflection of how he saw himself through his mother's eyes when he wasn't able to meet his mother's needs when he was back in the nursery. So one theory about dysfunctional behavior, self-defeating behavior, because that reflects how you saw yourself when you saw yourself through your mother's eyes during the time you couldn't save her and please her and cure her. Okay, that's how you saw yourself. So you treat yourself the way she sees you, kind of thing. So this story is also about how Snow White wasn't mirrored by a loving mother. Obviously not. So if the wicked queen were somehow a good mother, um, okay, then she would be Snow White's mirror. She would then reflect Snow White's positive traits, offering Snow White a mirror of herself. Yeah. So the child looks into mother's eyes and sees what the mother sees. That's like a mirror, like that. A child needs an attentive, accepting, supportive parent in order to learn to perceive, experience, and trust their own feelings, trust themselves, kind of thing. Self-esteem is going to come from this, obviously. Snow White did not have such a parent. Snow White had a narcissistic mother, a self-centered, okay, self-preoccupied mother. Okay, so narcissistic mother, huge topic. Because the mother's trapped in the mirror herself. The mother herself wasn't seen when she was a baby, and the mother became trapped in the mirror. That means she sees everything as belonging to her, and she's entitled to be fed by everything. So she thingifies things the way the baby thinks the breast is a thing that belongs to him. So when people grow up with narcissism, they tend to objectify things so they can't see beyond the tip of their nose. They think everything's about them. They're the center. They're center stage. It's all about them. They enter the Carol Burnett show, Visit with Dan, Visit from Dan or something. So Carol Burnett played a character named Eunice. She just got the bad news that her husband dumped her for the waitress. She was distressed and all this. The mother was nearby. And what did the mother say? Oh, yeah, you're that guy, your husband there. He said this thing about me. And you did it again, mother. Here I am. My life is destroyed. And here you are, center stage, making it all about you. And the visitor, Dan, said, Gee, and I thought my mother couldn't see past the end of her nose. Okay, so the mother was very narcissistic. She always had to twist it and make it all about her. Meanwhile, the daughter's in the fetal position on the sofa crying. She can't type. She's now a single mother with no money and job like this, and the husband dumped her for a waitress. Her life's devastated, and the mother's just saying. And the mother's glad. The mother covertly is kind of glad. Um, Now, when Dan tried to comfort Eunice, and so one point, Dan came around, tried to comfort you. Eunice. When one door closes, another door opens, and you're gonna find new parts of yourself. You're gonna reclaim new aspects of yourself that you didn't know you had, and you're gonna be the wild creature you were always meant to be. He was trying to give her a pep talk. Dan was trying to cheer her up like that. The mother charged in, interrupted Dan, and said, "Look, sir, I don't know what spaceship you came off, but back off here. Don't help my daughter like this. I need her to give me supply." So the mother was using Eunice constantly to give her narcissistic supply because she was always the center. It had to be all about her. And then Eunice tried to fight back like that, but she was always overpowered by the mother. Okay, enter the cartoon. Mothers know how to push your buttons because hey, she sewed them on. Okay, trapped in the mirror. Okay, that means the baby and the mother are one. The baby and the mother are one. Okay, if that's failed, okay, the images, the Greek myth, Narcissus looks at the pool of water, right? He sees the reflection, and that's all he sees, just himself. So when the baby's nursing, the mother's there. No, that's just him, trapped in that status. He's just trapped like that. Trapped. He's transfixed like that. Okay. Meanwhile, his soul echo turned to stone. By the way. Okay. So if that's the case, then they go through life with the unconscious hope for the fulfillment of those old unfulfilled needs to get the symbiosis, to get the merging, to get the paradise, to get the heaven. Okay, that later on, that's called, the jargon is called narcissistic supply. So they're going to be in the center. They're going to think it's all about them. They're insulted if they're supposed to give something. The only thing they think they can give is the opportunity for others to serve them. That's how egocentric they are. They feel entitled. Others are just things to serve them. Okay, because they're at that place where they didn't get the oneness of the mother. Okay, remember, they were betrayed. They were removed from the mother. That'll do it. If the cord and the placenta are removed and other traumas take place, I don't know what point it crosses over, but uh, like at what point does quantity become quality, where the mother cannot heal the birth trauma early on? Where are we here? Oh, the narcissist. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, that's why people with narcissism, they can't apologize. They don't tell you the truth. They cannot tell you the truth because they're in survival anxiety. They're battling with the mother. How can they tell the truth? Um, that's vulnerability. They already experienced too much pain. They don't want to. They don't want to be vulnerable again. So in the mind, they have what's called the magic mirror, the BPD amalgam. Um, so there'll be duplicity in their lying because they want to fool people, deceive people, to get supply, to make it all about them. So some of the tricks are, well, if they confuse you and scare you, they think you're the authority, and now you're center stage. So they've mastered this intuition. How do they be the center? How do they be seen in a positive light? And all their life is invested just to get narcissistic supply. It's an infinite loop. It never heals them. They never can. You can't get that. uh, Nothing symbolic of what you were supposed to get can actually be what you were supposed to receive back then. Okay, so because we don't remember, this is called symbolic acting out. So no symbol of mother is an actual mother in the past. So Lucy Holmes says, yeah, they're like emotional vampires. They're going to say everybody likes symbolic breasts, suck it dry, throw it away, give me the next one, and they're just in this infinite loop like this. So they're trapped in the mirror. Okay, Alan Golem's book called Trapped, a very good book called Trapped in the Mirror. Another good book is called, her sequel is very good, called Unloved Again. Um, Another good book is called You and the Narcissist by Professor Kimberly Harding. Very good little mini self-help book. And we've got there's other ones. It's Not You, It's Your Mother. It's okay, and a few others. Masterson, of course, talks about it. It's a huge topic. Okay, so the Wicked Witch in the Snow White has narcissism. She's filled with ennui. She's envious. She's narcissistic. Okay, she's enraged. She's hostile. Okay, many babies have a mother like that. Many mothers are like her. It's just colorfully exaggerated to make the point. But we don't want to believe it. That's why it's a fairy tale. It's a coded kind of thing. But a lot of mothers were bitter and envious uh, towards their children. And then at midlife, you realize the truth. You say, "Oh my God, my mother didn't love me." Holy, you know what? Well, the truth will upset you free. You got to call a spade a spade. When you identify that your mother was impaired, that she wasn't able to love, and therefore she couldn't love you, then you're free, kind of thing. But you got to do some work like that. You got to um, have a broader perspective about your mother, that she didn't get her needs met. She's also a member of Homo Trauma Cus. You got to see her as a person who's wounded. Um, she would have, she could have, she couldn't. She was impaired. She doesn't have the beingness to love. She never mourned. She never got the support to mourn. So everything's love or a cry for love. She was too busy showing up her mother. She was too entitled like that. She was stuck with this pain, this timeless pain around not getting her needs met. So she could, oh, hang on. That's the first butterfly that passed by here. Oh, I might have to move here in a minute. There's some distracting. Yeah, there's a bit of a distracting thing going on beside me here. I might have to move in a minute. Let's see how it goes. Okay, where are we here? Um, okay, Snow White had what is commonly called a narcissistic mother, self-centered, self-preoccupied, okay, bitter, hostile, envious. She feels entitled. It's all about her. She wants to be center stage, right? So whatever goodness her daughter has, no way. Hatred of the good. For the mother to feel safe, she's got to hate goodness. She's got to hate goodness, see goodness damage. That's her trauma bond with her mother who did that to her. So to have a mother, she's got to hate goodness because her mother hated her goodness originally. She becomes the hating mother, the envious mother. So the baby was envied by the envier. She becomes the envier. So the daughter has some goodness. Um, for the mother to feel safe, she's got to hate her daughter. The only way the mother can feel safe about herself is she's got to hate the daughter. She feels good when she hates her daughter because she's got to hate her daughter to not let her know that she hates herself. She's got to scapegoat her daughter. Okay, externalized living, uh, Murray Bowen's theory about the triangle. We'll talk about that in a minute. Um, so she needs somebody to hate to make her unaware that she hates herself. And the only way to have a mother, the only way to maintain the hope with the mother, to have a mother, is she mimics her. She acts like her. She is her. She crossed over. She is her. So she just is going to continually shame herself, but to make herself unaware of it. She's going to shame. Yeah, last time I was here, it's my fourth time here. The first two times went quite well. Um, Last time I had this little thing on the side, little distracting thing on the side. That's actually since the oh yeah, you know what? Since the sun, oh, it's a little cloudy. Yeah, okay, I got an idea. Let me move my chair here. Hold a second. Give me a minute here. Let's see. Oh, that's not gonna work. Jesus. How about like this? Okay, I'm gonna have to move. This is very annoying. Somebody keeps staring at me, kind of thing. And then if I move, the character follows me, kind of thing. It happened last time. Okay, I'm gonna need to. I think he has what's called a transference neurosis. Um, so I don't want to. Okay, let's go back to the. Give me about 5 minutes to set up at another spot. Hold on a sec. Is it okay if I just sit? Yeah, thank you, sir. Somebody's there. Last time they had a huge function in here. Yeah, okay, this worked out okay last time. Let's just do it here. The downside is that they got all this speakers here. Is that okay? You don't hear it, but the speakers are blaring a techno type of music here. One second. Where are we here? I got to bring this up here. Okay. Okay, we'll talk more about narcissism. We've talked a lot about it already. So the mother's trapped in the mirror. She can't give of herself. She's got to shame her daughter, hate her daughter, destroy the daughter's goodness, because that's what happened to her, and that's her only safety. Because she's loyal to her mother. Her mother is married to her mother, so she can't love her daughter. The only way to have a mother is to hate her daughter because her mother hated her. Hatred of the good. The mother envies her daughter, whatever for whatever goodness she has. She might have fun, she might be free, she might be pretty, whatever it is. And the child handles it with psychic splitting. That's part of it. What is the effect on Snow White, the budding beauty in all of us? Okay, so Snow White is a symbol for our beingness, our being, the budding. So we all have a budding beauty within. It can be symbolized by Snow White. So everybody has a snow. So the whole fairy tale is a dream. Everything inside the fairy tale is like, it's kind of like you wake up in the morning at a dream, right? That's several things. All that's all in your mind. That's all belongs to one psyche, all within like that. So a dream is the same idea. Everything in Snow White is all part of a person's traumatized mind. Okay, so the Snow White represents our beingness, our budding beauty, she calls it. Okay, the potential of who we'd be had we been loved. Okay, the process of becoming who we're meant to become. This beauty to blossom called the emerging self. Okay, it didn't get a chance to emerge, the beingness, and all the gifts and the treasure of the beingness. So Snow White represents that. So you see Snow White's in a coffin like that. So our beingness is in a coma, in a box, in a coffin. So we can't touch our beingness, and our beingness is asleep, in a deep sleep. That's one way of saying it. She's got another. Now she has another way of referring to the glass box. So let's do that one. Yeah. So we'll get there in a minute. Before we get to the glass box, let's talk about the dwarfs first. Okay. So what is the effect on the Snow White, i.e., our beingness, our budding beauty, our emerging self, our potential, who we'd be had we been loved? That's called Snow White, your beingness. Okay, your authentic self, your true self, your embodiment, your inner beauty. So, what is the effect of our inner beauty when we have a mother who's kind of like this wicked queen? Well, if your mother is envious too much of the time, you feel it's not safe to feel good as you grow up, because you don't want to make your mother feel bad. Because you don't want to make your mother feel bad, you limit, you self-sabotage your happiness and pleasure. You keep a lid on it. You don't show your happiness. You don't even trust yourself anymore. Quote, one woman said, geez, right in my very own home, I was taught that success is not safe. Right in my very own home. My mother taught me that happiness is not safe. I can't be happy. It's not safe to be me. It's not safe to be happy. I learned this in my own home. Can you believe it? She said. Okay. Okay, now so the soul is exiled. Okay, so in the forest, you got in the forest, you got all the birds and the deer and the little animals, and you got the little bee, the dwarfs. So that's all like instinctual. Okay, that's like sort of personifications of bodily kind of things. The miners are the dwarfs are miners. That's going into the unconscious. All right. Why doesn't Snow White follow the dwarfs' warnings and accept the fact that her wicked queen mother wanted to kill her? Well, because Snow White, like any one of you with an envious mother, wants to deny the obvious to protect herself from truth that is too painful to bear. He doesn't want to know it. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me my mother failed me. Don't tell me my mother used me, hated me, didn't want me. Don't tell me. I can't hear that. No way. So she wouldn't believe it. No way. I can't know that. Back to the need to know episode. I can't know that. Make me go nuts. I can't know that. So we deny it. We deny it. It's too painful because Snow White needs her mother, needs her precisely because she never had a mother. Therefore, Snow White keeps seeking the mothering she lacks, the mothering that died with her quote good mother at birth. So the mother was considered good in the uterus, but when she was removed, oh, there's the wicked witch now. If the mother allowed that to happen, she's evil, right? I mean, what mother would do such a thing to a poor baby? You know, she likes it. Oh, good, traumatize my baby. You wreckaged him. Good. They'll be down. I'll always fill up. They'll always turn to me, make me important. I'll get supply. I always feel good by comparison. If I'm not successful in my life outwardly, I'll always be successful um, with this child. I want to keep the child down, kind of thing. So mothers go along with this. No one wants to believe this. Um, okay, for anyone with a wicked queen mother, the battle to become a full adult woman is as strenuous as the battle facing Snow White. Yeah, so any protagonist in a myth or fairy tale, any kind of these adventure stories, that's kind of what we're going through to heal ourselves. This battle like that, it's within. Okay, the beast is within. Okay, Forbidden 1956 Forbidden Planet film. If Snow White, okay, what about the father? Well, if Snow White had had a good father at home taking care of her, he might have alerted Snow White to the danger of ahead. So the father could maybe like protect her or guide her a little bit. Now the father can't be the mother, so okay, that's too bad about that. Obviously, the father cannot do what the mother should do, but at least the father can maybe step in somehow, warn her somehow. Maybe he can say, "Daughter, I'm sorry, daughter. Let's face it, your mother's got a problem here. She's impaired. Don't take it personally." Yeah, right. Don't take it seriously. Don't believe it too much. She's impaired. She's got a problem. But I'm around. I'll do what I can. But I'm sorry, kid. Your mother is um, impaired. She's impaired. She doesn't have the psychic structure to love you. She's not going to love you. She can't love you. She's impaired. Your mother has the problem. You don't have the problem. Your mother has the problem, not you, kid. Not you. Your mother has the problem. So, um, so the father, I'll do what I can, but I'm working all the time. But I'll do what I can. So he could have helped Snow White deal with an envious mother. He could have been a balance to her mother, a counter voice to the queens. He could have told her daughter, "Daughter, you're wonderful, I'm proud of you," etc., things like that. But the only messages Snow White heard at home were negative ones from her mother. Would the wicked queen have wanted closeness between Snow White and the father? No way. Okay, so a lot of mothers put a wedge. Um, Look, your father's the bad one. Yeah, if I gotta watch it, your father's the bad one. You gotta trust me. Mother knows best. Trust me. She's gonna alienate the father because she's got the agenda, right? To be envious towards the daughter. The father might be the good one a little bit. No, no. Um, she'll put the eternal triangle, right? So the daughter won't have access to the father. Usually the father's not around. He's absent, busy, works 10 jobs, whatever. He's usually not around, kind of thing. He's out of it, doesn't know what's going on as well. And plus, he's been brainwashed. No mother knows best as well. So there's usually no father around, really. The dwarfs are miners. They dig deep into the earth, seeking precious gems and metals. Well, they help Snow White mine for what is precious in herself. The dwarfs bring Snow White down to earth. They watch over Snow White and try to guard her from the envious mother. They warn her and support her and give her a role, a purpose in life. They teach her how to have a good relationship with them. The dwarfs tell Snow White the truth. Look, Snow White, your mother doesn't love you. She doesn't care about your needs, or right. So you better be careful here, Snow White. She's out to get you. Well, Snow White is learning about the world, about the mother and the world, about much that she had never known before. Okay, so when she's in the unconscious, you're learning, you're reflecting. So this is the midlife audit, the midlife. So this is code for the midlife examination period, where you're reading books, you're reading self-help books. You go to patreon.com/narrative medicine and read the 10,000 quotes here. You get the comic psychoanalysis. Um, okay, you read Masterson, Karen Horney, Edmund Berger, Grotstein, Ogden, Guntrip, Solani, Rinsley, and the whole list of quotes. Well, whatever's of interest to you, just find Arthur Jana, find an author, um, and now you're learning. Now you're learning. So that's the midlife audit, the midlife examination period, the hero's journey, the second journey in midlife, like this. Okay, so now she's learning stuff. Snow White looks up at the glass and sees her own reflection. She's finding her own mirroring. That's an interesting thing that she said there. In the glass box, in a way, in a way, she can see herself now. Finally, the reflection of the glass, right? And I see myself here. Well, if I can see, okay, it's that kind of that. You get the idea. So another point about the glass box is it's like a cocoon. It's a safety. It's like um, just withdrawing a little bit, um, finding a quiet, safe place or something, and mirror yourself. Get to know yourself. So the whole time Snow White's in the coffin, that's the time when our soul is frozen in a coma like that. Okay, she's got a slightly different way. Normally, I've been saying the beingness is in a coma like that, like Snow White. She thinks the glass box is more about that time alone in life where you're. Her analogy is like, when you like at night you have a dream and you wake up, right? What would a lifetime version of that be? What would a parallel analogous version of that be for your lifetime? So the daily, you have a night dream, you wake up. Well, for your whole life, the midlife phase is like a sleep in the glass box. So the midlife period is kind of like the, it's kind what what sleep is to the person for 8 hours every night on a daily basis. The midlife audit is for a person for 20 years for their life, that 20-year sleep kind of thing. So she's in the sleep, meaning we're in the midlife phase, meaning like that. Okay, the prince, what about him? Well, he's a symbol for the qualities that Snow White has been lacking. Okay, so that's the assertiveness, okay, being outspoken, that's the masculine element. Okay, it's not an outer print. The prince is not an external person. It's not a rescue fantasy of some outer person, right? It's a symbol. The prince represents the inner quote inner male part. Okay, that's the doingness, the active doingness part. Your voice, you're speaking, you're doing, you're active. Okay, the prince represents the inner male part of herself, the ripening of her own powers. Okay, so now her assertiveness, her voice, her powers, right? Powers her envious mother did not allow to develop. So her agency, her voice, her initiative, knowing what she likes to do, knowing her interests, making an I statement, free association, saying she wants to heal. That's active stuff. That's the personification. You put all that together, you got a prince. Okay, it's all within. Snow White is connecting with qualities of her own that have been dormant. In discovering these qualities, when she gets in touch with these qualities, okay, now she can awaken. So there's the famous kiss scene. She awakens. That means she got in touch. She got in touch with her agency. That's like an inner kiss, like that. She is ready to leave the coffin, to move out into the world. If somebody were to interview Snow White, she might say, if she went on a talk show, "Hey Snow White, what did you learn here?" Well, don't be afraid of your mother's envy. There is hope. Snow White teaches us to persevere in the face of parental envy. Okay, in the face of parental envy, persevere. Don't be afraid of your mother's envy. That's her issue. That's her trauma. You don't got to fix that. So there is hope. So to envy, you must first compare, and then in the comparison, you you find yourself lacking. The wicked queen compared, she felt a lack, and she couldn't stand the pain of inferiority. Okay, so the queen, the mother, she has an inferiority complex. She doesn't have her beingness. She lacks self-esteem because she wasn't esteemed by her mother, so she lacks self-esteem. If the mother wasn't esteemed by her mother, she'll end up with a lack of self-esteem. You do not feel self-worth. Um, you do not feel self-worth because You were not given essential mirroring as a child. Okay, so if you're not given essential mirroring as a child, you're not going to feel self worth. The child needs mirroring to be seen, to be made to feel important, admired, understood, echoed, okay, affirmed. By mirroring, the mother gives the child a positive reflection, a positive interpretation of who she is. The mirroring, the mirroring is what Snow White needed, but her mother stole the show and the mirror. Yes, I think her mistake was that if a daughter is afraid of her mother's envy, she'll be self-defeating in advance um, to preempt the mother attacking her or hating her or rejecting her. So if she voluntarily puts herself in the down position, that'll placate her mother. So she calls that the Snow White syndrome. Oh my God, what a it doesn't work. I don't think it really works, that phrase. If she entitled her book, um, um, Mother's Envy, just call it Mother's Envy. You might have a chance. It might have been a little more appealing. Another thing about her book is it starts off very strong. Like those quotes all come from like the introduction kind of thing. The rest of the book is mostly general kind of discussion and a lot of testimonials by people discussing their personal stories of either being the envier or being envied. All these little stories about sibling rivalry and if there was and that can get transferred into your relationship. If there's unresolved issues around envy in the childhood, that could be carried on into the continuation into the present as a reflection of the inner state. So if there's memories of having been envied, and you either become the envier. So the Golem, Miss Alan Golem calls the frozen child freezing parent. We can borrow that also as the envied and the envier. So the child is the envied, and the envier is the freezing parent, the aggressive parent. Okay, so you want to identify: are you playing the child one, or are you playing the Faustian deal one? So you want to put a wedge between those two and build a Jane mind. Okay, versus the either or, like in Three Faces of Eve: Eve White, Eve Black. Okay, so we talked about the film, the classic film Three Faces of Eve, and the daughter said to the mother, "Hey, mother, I like it when you're Jane. I'm relaxed with you. I can play with you. I can learn. I can be myself. I really love it when you're Jane. Could you please be Jane? I don't like it when you're Eve White. You're gloomy and depressing. I don't like it when you're Eve Black. Oh boy, you're dangerous like that. You scare me like that. Could you please be Jane?" So Jane is like the three faces of Eve. One face is Jane. Okay, the other two faces of Eve was Eve White, Eve Black. The Jane is the healthy. Oh, hang on. I think they're called a spotted dove, but I'm not sure. Are we getting? He's on the rail there. He's looking forward. He's gonna fly off at any moment here. Let's see if I can. Oh, it's still there. I can't go back to where I was. Uh, what mirroring? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the title of the book. It's not well known. It's got barely any reviews. 1986. I think it's 1986 it came out, both in hardback and paperback. It's been digitized. Um, it's one of the better books on envy. Um, our key book on the topic is the one called Cinderella, The Envied and the Envier by the Ulanovs, and a couple, Anne and Barry Ulanov. They do a pretty good book about envy. And there's another little book, Mary, is it Ashwin? Is that right? About the Kronos character? It's just also that one. And just a sprinkling of quotes throughout. Now, envy, there's different versions of envy. You got benign, positive envy called emulation. You admire, I want to emulate, I want to role model, you envy that, I like that, I envy you, like in a positive way. So there's like a positive kind of envy, um, like you want to emulate like that. It's clear in the Spanish language. In the Spanish language, they have a specific name for this positive kind of envy, or called emulative envy, like admiration, you want to emulate. Then there's like in the middle, yeah, I don't like it, but okay, well, that's what it is, but you don't do anything about it. But the more overt hatred of the goodness, the bitterness, and you want to see the goodness damaged, that's the malignant envy. But that's usually what we think of when we hear envy, right? So it's considered to be on a spectrum. Okay, this guy Michael had a sort of similar situation here to Snow White. Maybe it was painful to see Michael with all his unrealized potential, placing himself in situations that perpetuated his problems, undermining efforts to bring about healing and change. It was painful to see him continually acting in response to his parents, sabotaging his treatment as he sabotaged other aspects of his life. Um, for most men, the time comes to symbolically bury the father. I mean, mourn the father, mourn his passing. Leave your father's house, leave your mother's house. Psychologically speaking, psychically speaking, you got to leave that psychic house. Okay, so in fairy tales, you got to mourn his passing. You got to admit that your father didn't protect you and guide you, that your mother didn't love you, meet your needs. You got to admit these things. Then you can separate, kind of thing, and then move on, kind of thing. No, Michael couldn't do this. He kept his father alive through his own self-sabotaging behavior. Um, he would try to win approval, always knowing that his efforts would be in vain. Unconsciously, he was attempting to gain control over the rejection, but repeatedly proving to himself that this would never happen again. Michael was caught up in a self sabotaging repetition compulsion. He was withholding success from his father so that they would get no pride from being related to him. In his own way, he communicated that he was basically a capable person who could do no more than he did, but even at his own expense, he would give them no satisfaction for doing so. Okay, this is called fire. Okay, so one version is the psychological side of it all, the self-defeating side of it. One version of the self-defeating side of it all is called fire revenge. So the psychological satisfaction is this Michael guy doesn't want his parents to take any kind of credit. So if they're self-defeating, they can't do that. That's a win for him psychologically, but a huge loss for him because he's got to live his life in a miserable state. But he's got the psychological. They're not going to take credit. They're not going to take credit like that. That'd be a further insult, right? The parents are supposed to make amends and apologize. Instead, they're going to take credit. So enter the Nashville show, the music show in Nashville. The young lady was very successful and all that. Her mother was very depressed. But the depressed mother did one good thing, I thought. She said to her daughter, "Daughter, all that you are, all that you've become, all that success, you did all that. That's all you. You did all that. Nothing to do with me. In spite of me, you did all that. That's all you, daughter. That's all you." So all the credit goes to her. This mother didn't want to take any credit for her daughter's success. That was maybe one positive thing about this mother, that the daughter intuited that the mother wouldn't do that, maybe. But the mother wasn't a nurturing kind of mother. She wasn't a loving, nurturing mother. So the daughter, she was a shoplifter. She felt entitled to receive symbols of mother for free. She was entitled. So although she was a millionaire or whatever, she'd go to the drugstore or whatever and nick the lipsticks and the cosmetics and stuff like that. Symbols of tenderness and mother-daughter activities and um, the mother-daughter little things. Maybe she thought, mother should, teach me how to use cosmetics. Maybe this is symbols of mother and interaction with mother. So but you see, the daughter is meant to get that freely. So she went to the store and got it freely. She felt entitled to get it freely. So she was addicted to this shoplifting these little things like cosmetics as symbols of mother. That's one theory about that. At the same, yeah. So there's two parts to that. Actually, from the same show, the Nashville show, a couple broke up, and he wanted to punish her by making her feel guilty, and she called her out. She called him out on it. Dear ex-boyfriend, are you trying to punish me by hurting yourself? Please don't do that. So he was also engaged in fire revenge. He would be self-defeating if it made her unhappy. The main example was the father ignored the son uh, and only cared about his degree. The father completely ignored the son, sent him to school, paid for his education. So what the son would do was, the father cares more about this piece of paper than me. I want to get back at him. I'll sabotage the degree and make him upset. He got upset. That's his Fyric revenge. It's Fyric because he doesn't get no degree himself. He won't get a degree himself. All he wanted was to see his father angry, to get back at his anger for ignoring him. You value this paper more than me? You got to value me more than the paper. So finally, he got father's attention because he would shout at him. Oh, you notice me. Oh, I exist to you. Oh, I see. So he got some little fiery revenge. He got some attention or something finally. So he did two things. One was the fiery revenge, get back at his father by destroying what he loved. The father loved the paper, not him. So he got back at him, but at a huge cost to the son. So a fiery revenge. Plus, the only way to get his father's attention is to have him shout at him. So he didn't mind that. Better than nothing, he thought. Burglar has the example um, of a guy was drinking some alcohol, and the mother was nearby, and the mother said to the son, the adult son, truth is, son, whatever, it really pains me to see you drinking like this. Geez, you're drinking like this again and again. I feel hurt by this. It pains me. Oh, it pains you. Oh, he doubled it. He drank more and more to pain her. So he would damage his liver just to get back at his mother, because to cause pain on the mother, he wanted to inflict pain on the mother, even though he would damage his liver. That's a fire victory for him. He damaged himself, but psychologically he wants to express, back off, mother. I'm angry at you, mother, like that. Burgers in another similar version. The guy thought, oh, this will damage her. This alcohol is like a poisonous, right? Maybe it'll damage her. Maybe it'll hurt her. I'll survive it, but it'll hurt her. He thinks like in those kind of terms. Okay, so the self-defeating, self-sabotaging, it's a huge thread. We've got a lot of different theories about it. Uh, Despite the occasional interruptions, it's been nice doing these outdoors lately. Uh, Now it's cooled off a bit finally. Let me see. What time is it? Is it dark already? It's five. Oh my God! Yes, 5:12. So I've got about a good half an hour left. Okay. Okay. Repetition. Another quote about repetition compulsion. The compulsion to repeat is a form of acting out. So they're synonymous. When there's trauma, we repeat, 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 hoping to change the past, undo the past, get a better past. Because of the pain we're in. We want to get out of the pain, so just repeat, repeat. It's a funny thing like that, right? It's we just that part of the brain doesn't know time, but the needs are still there. So you're repeating it, but there is time. So in the present, it can only be symbolic of the past. So it's called symbolic acting out. And again, you don't remember, so you act it out because you don't remember. And due to this compulsion to repeat, that means we transfer the past to the present. The present is called the presenting past, or we transfer the past to the present and reenact. So back to burglar. Go to 2951, the last one in 2951. Any neurotic can be compared to a person. So here's a metaphor or a simile about repetition compulsion. Any neurotic can be compared to a person carrying around one phonograph record, okay, the vinyl disc record, music record, constantly, 45, let's say. Okay, any neurotic can be compared to a person carrying around one phonograph record constantly and continually, on the lookout for a phonograph, like a player, a machine, turntable, on which to play his only tune. The one and only record represents the basic unconscious neurotic tendency. The phonograph stands for the other person with whom the neurotic pattern can be repeated. Certain unconscious behavior patterns acquired in early childhood become petrified, set in, imprinted in, stenciled in, and under the pressure of the compulsion to repeat, are repeated throughout the remainder of life with eternal monotony. Infinite loop, no time in that brain, and without awareness of that repetition. Thus, the unconscious, quote, repetition machine, the compulsion meaning, reels off, like a reel to reel, reels off, like on a jukebox, reels, pulls down the record, only one. Yeah, a jukebox with only one record. How about that? I just saw the Twilight Zone. They had a jukebox in there. Imagine a jukebox, but there's only one record. You can only play one record because there's only one record in the jukebox. He would love for the jukebox to have like 100 records, but he's only got one. Thus, the unconscious repetition machine reels off the unconscious behavior pattern. Oh yeah, yeah. They're talking about the Twilight. The Twilight Zone's in the news because Rod Serling is 100. Um, he was born 100 years ago, almost to the day. They're talking about his 100th birthday like that. So just quickly, I highly recommend. Okay, Gabe's Story, excellent one. Now a mini kind of uh, teaser either pre or post is called Nick of Time. So but the main one is Gabe's Story. So Gabe's Story plus an optional Nick of Time. Those two episodes. Wong's Lost and Found Emporium. That's my favorite episode. That's a great episode about the midlife audit. We had our beingness, we lost it. You go to the lost and found phase of life emporium, metaphysical emporium phase of life. You want to get it back. You want to refine and get back your beingness. You had your beingness locked in a coma. Snow White's in a coma. You want to come back. So in her version, it's when we recognize our disowned traits. All of your disowned traits, you put it together, that's the prince. All the wounded side of you, that's the wounded princess. So you want it together like that. So it's a so-called inner marriage, right? Your beingness and your doingness. And see, a good symbol for that beingness and doingness is the maiden king. The maiden is the feminine principle, the beingness, and the doing, the king, the act of the masculine doing, comes from the being. If you have your being from the being, your doing comes from the being. That means the doing is ethical, moral, virtuous, maiden king. If the being is missing, your doing is whacked. Okay, you don't have your golden ball, you don't have your beingness. So what are you doing? Well, you're in a swoon, you're in a trance, repeating the past, symbolically acting out, showing up the mother, um, envious, greedy. You're still fighting with the mother. It don't make sense. The present isn't the past, but you don't know that without your beingness. So you got to get back your beingness. Then your doing will be normal, ethical, and virtuous. Got to get your back your beingness. Another version of Burglar's record metaphor that I like is every neurotic is a music enthusiast, but he only has one record, which he carries with him everywhere he goes. Every time he sees a turntable with never-ending fiery ardor, he says, he runs to the turntable and plays that 45. That's like the repetition machine, and reels off the unconscious behavior pattern. So in the present, he'll recreate the past. If the trauma is prior to 18 months, he crosses over and plays the aggressor. He finds others to play him as innocent and shame them and then hate them. That's the more perverse stuff. That's psychotic stuff, perverse stuff, schadenfreude, greed, envy. You don't free associate. You can't tell the truth. Um, you're always in survival anxiety. You always got jungle slogans. You always maintain the splitting. That's the premise of the trauma. So you have oppositional thinking, adversarial thinking, either or thinking to maintain the loyalty to the mother. So prejudice, of course, is going to be in there. If the trauma is post 18 months, um, the theory is the child doesn't need to cross over. He can maintain um, the child's side, and then when he replays the record, he just finds others who will not help him resume development. So he'll be disappointed again and again and again, but he doesn't disappoint others. But the stinger mode, prior to 18 months, um, okay, that's the wicked witch one. Filled with envy, filled with greed, filled with entitlement, filled with narcissism, filled with neurotic pride, okay, filled with jungle slogans, filled with vindictiveness and revenge, and that kind of stuff. So, okay, so another one about repetition compulsion. The second one in this batch here today, 2953. The compulsion. Yesterday was two, right? Yesterday was two, right? Hang on a second. Hold on a second. Yesterday. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, it's okay. 16. You know, what am well, all the quotes are posted. I may have, let's see, 51. We did that one. What's 52? 60. Hey, what's going on here? Did I make a mistake here? Let's see. I thought we're doing 53 today. 54. Okay, 54, 55, 56, 57. These are coming up. 57, 58. Okay, 59. Well, there's 52. Oh, yeah, we did 52 yesterday. Okay, we're okay. Yeah, 53. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so the second one here in 53, the compulsion to repeat is a form of acting out a trauma through destructive behavior, though almost always the individual is completely unaware that this is what he or she is doing. Quote, I couldn't help thinking, I couldn't help thinking that my client was saying, quote, well, my grandfather left his family. My father left his family. Therefore, I'm going to end up leaving my family. Repetition compulsion. He identified with the aggressor. He's trying to master the pain of it. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be on the victim side of it. So he's going to be the aggressor. So the grandfather took off. The father took off. He's going to take off. So the youngest identified with the father, who in turn identified with his father. Intergenerational trauma, repetition compulsion. Your father ran out on you and your mother, and you feel compelled to do the same thing. Well, if you want to leave your wife um, after you do some healing, that's one thing. But then I would hope you leave not because you were compelled to, but because you really, in an adult mind, really wanted to. However, at present, this drive to repeat, this compulsion to repeat and to leave, and the need to sabotage this marriage is very intense here. Yeah. So what? Why? Yeah, okay. So why is he about? So this one man is thinking about leaving. Is he doing it out of an adult choice, or is it just some compulsion to repeat the unresolved pain of his past? So repetition compulsion, it's a powerful drive. It's like the iceberg metaphor. It really pushes. It really. So he's meant to catch himself. Wait a minute. Is he gonna leave? What's her name? Virginia. Virginia. Because when he was a child, his father left. Is that the only reason? Is that the only reason? Or face this trauma, and then there may be a different outcome. Okay, next number 4. Divorce is almost always the end point. Divorce is almost always the end point of years of dissension, expressed or unexpressed, between parents. There are parents who pride themselves on the fact that there was not much bickering prior to the divorce. Quote, we never argue in front of our children, unquote. Well, kids have an incredible radar for picking up on unspoken cues. It's not easy to determine whether the children are better off with divorce or with perpetual disagreements. But either way, divorce is traumatic. Just as growing up and living in a dysfunctional family is traumatic. Oh, okay. Oh, either way. So divorce is going to be traumatic for the kid, or the kid growing up with a seething, painful parents hating each other. Children are scarred either way. So who knows which is worse or better? Which is the less worse or Children are scarred either way. Children sometimes believe that the divorce happened because they haven't been good enough. In other words, it's all their fault. Quote, the child says, well, if I would have been a better kid, if I would have behaved better, if I would not have got into trouble, then the divorce wouldn't have happened. It's all my fault. And this kind of belief persists despite being told by both parents that the child had nothing to do with the decision to divorce. Oh, there's that Joni Mitchell song again. Last time I was here, yeah, they're playing the same stuff here. So we have one Joni Mitchell song on our soundtrack. It's a cover of her song "This Flight Tonight," sung by Dan McCafferty. If I had the, I'm not a shrink, I'm not a professor, but if I had the funds tonight, I'd be on this flight tonight to do a full analysis and then report what I learned. I'm reminded of Lucy Freeman's book called The Fight Against Fears. Go to TQ 2822, is that right? 29, it's either 28, 20 or 29. There's a 22 at the end of it. It's either 28, 22 or 29, 22, one of those two. Um, she, um, she's a journalist who went to a shrinker man and she reported what the shrinker man told her. A very good book, and we posted the best quotes from there. Or better yet, just read the book directly. 1951 best-selling book called Fight Against Fears. Okay, the next one here about this idea that children are little gods and kings and all that. Most small children start out believing that the world revolves around them. The world is my oyster. This is a normal stage of development. Infantile feelings of grandiosity and narcissism, a sense that one is the center of the universe, or the master of the universe, or the center of the universe. Okay, so he's a king and a god. Now, with normal development, that feeling gradually recedes. However, when certain parents place the children in the middle of their own lives and also their conflicts, this normal process can be interrupted. The result is that many of these children develop a severe sense of responsibility, guilt, and self recrimination. They are left with a harsh and punitive conscience, self doubts, and lack of confidence. If anything goes wrong with either parent or with the family, they believe it is not only their fault, but that it is their responsibility to right the wrongs or to repair the damage. This attitude extends beyond the family to a generalized feeling that their role in life is to correct, to help, to set things right. And if they cannot set things right, and what child can rescue an alcoholic parent, for example? The child grows up believing that he or she has failed, and thus the stage is set for the grown up child to continue to try to fix the world. The view of the self as the rescuer becomes part of the way one deals with others. The child who feels compelled to make life better for an abused parent becomes the adult who must make life better for others, even at his own expense. There develops an attraction to others who are needy, and the rescuer comes to the rescuer. For example, one man, um, he liked to collect wounded birds. His mother was a wounded bird, so he was only attracted to wounded birds, women, okay, traumatized women, right? So he needed women who feigned helplessness so that he could be the rescuer. He needed women who needed to be rescued, and he tried. but was left feeling that his efforts were never enough. His needs to feel important to save others were met with feelings of failure because the bar was constantly being raised. Quote, why did I have to be the husband or the father and never the child or the son in the family growing up? So he was parentified. I chose women who would remind me, who would demand of me, so that I could continue to bury my own needs in order to take care of them when I really needed someone to give to me, to take care of me. Okay, so one version of the infantile megalomania is he's going to save the parent. He's a king and a god. Don't worry, mother. I'm a king. I'm a god. I'm going to save you. I'm going to fix you. I'm omnipotent. I have this power. So he's still in that phase. So he goes through life trying to save wounded birds, thinking magical, thinking I can save this woman who's a copy of my traumatized mother. If I fix this traumatized woman in the present, who reminds me of my traumatized mother in the past, then I can heal my traumatized mother in the past if I fix the person in the present who's a stand-in for her. But that's that's called symbolic acting out. The person in the present is only a symbol of your mother, so to speak. The problem with doing it here is you don't hear it, but there's a loudspeaker near me playing Christmas jingles. The guard station is at that end, and that's the entrance to the mall over there. What about on that side? Is there anything over there? Let me take another look here. Is that annoying thing still there? Oh, it's still there. Jesus. That's a very. I don't know what. I don't know if he's. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, hey, let's just do a little bit of a walk here. Yeah, let's do it for a walk. I haven't done a walk in a while. Um, yeah. Okay. So in this and fairy tales, when they say the child is born, the mother died, and then the guy married another woman, and there's the wicked stepmother. No, that's just a way of saying that the goodness of the mother that the baby felt in the uterus, that time was over at biological birth. If the betrayal takes place at birth, then the baby sees the mother as a wicked evil witch. But it's the same woman. But that's how we talk about it. We don't want to openly say this. Uh, what my mother's so if you watch Snow White, the wicked evil witch, my mother's like that. Oh my God! So neat. Hold on a second. The cleaner's got to do his thing here. Hold on a second. Let me uh, let me get out of his way here. All right. I don't want him to. See, he might get in trouble, if you miss something. Well, there was a guy there. Try to help him out. I might be able to walk in this indoor part. Let's see. stay out here just in case. So what are we talking about? Okay. So um, a lot of authors make this point. Robert Bly, Merriam Woodman, Marie Louise Vaughan France, you name it, list goes on. Johnny Sanford. Okay, that when you these myths and fairy tales, the wicked evil stepmother, that's your mother. It's the dark side of her. It's the bitter side of her. It's really what's going on with her. She's kind of like that. It's hard to believe, right? So we say, oh well, the mother died, and it's not really a mother. It's the stepmother. What they mean is the good mother, quote unquote, died because you lost her at birth, and the mother betrayed you, and she's impaired herself. So from the baby's perspective, the mother's a wicked, evil witch like that, right? From the baby's eyes perspective, he thinks he's a goner. You know? Right? Oh yeah, and the famous heart scene, right? Give me her heart like that. Put it in a box like that. See, that's she's trying to steal the heart. So the soul is gone. She can't love anymore with a heart like that. Jesus Christ. Eh? So Wizard of Oz, that's the Tin Man scene, right? So in trauma, okay, the soul's fragmented. We can't know the trauma. That's the scarecrow, unthought known. He has no brain, can't think it, but it's known. It's known. The body knows it. Somatic memory, somatic knowledge, bodily known, body knowledge. The body keeps the score. The body remembers the mysterious sleep between mind and body. It's procedurally known, implicitly known in the body, but we can't think it because the scarecrow has no brain. So it's the unthought known. It's known, but we can't think it. Okay, that's the scarecrow. The wizard, the Tin Man. Well, look at that. Well, that's your beingness flew out, right? Your soul. You can't love. You can't love. You can't feel. Your golden ball. Your heart. My God. And the Tin Man and the scarecrow being like that means the person's going to feel disembodied. The stuffed, the stuffed uh, uh, cowardly lion character. That's like we don't feel really real and alive. He can't roar. He's not alive. He's a cowardly lion like that. So Dorothy's part of a symbol of the system, a symbol of the psyche. Dorothy's part of the. So this is all like a dream. It's all true within one. All these characters are personifications of inner elements, elements belonging to the mind of a traumatized person. So Dorothy's part of the system, part of the psyche, that's trying to line things up. Okay, so you want to line up, okay, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Lion. Get them lined up because they were fragmented right in the beginning. So you want to line them up. So heart, so mind, heart, body, line it up, be in line, aligned, and have it connected. You want to have like an embodied heart, love, filmed, informed decision, thought. So your thinking is heart based, and that's called the path of heart. Meaning and pleasure. The bluebird of happiness flies from in when that's the case, says Shirley Temple. Yeah, I don't want to speculate what that's about. I don't know what that is. It's I'll just move if that's the case. But like, I got to get here earlier. I think the key for me here is to try to get here earlier. I got to get the sky. Got to get on the sky train. I got a few little things to do before I get. Got to cool off. My God. Yeah, today was a late one. Hold on a second. Should we zip through that? Should we zip through those boats quickly? Okay, the story of Snow White is an example of a mother's uh, hysterical reaction of being reminded of what happened to her. She identified with the envy breast. So to have a mother, she's got to hate goodness. Her daughter has innate goodness. She's got to hate it to feel safe with the mother. She's called Schadenfreude. So Schadenfreude and envy are kind of linked. Okay, we treat fairy tales like dreams. Second one. Okay, a story like Snow White focuses specifically on Electra and Jocasta. Okay, the daughter not getting her needs met from her mother because the mother's impaired. Okay, so mirror on the wall. Well, first of all, Snow White, the daughter, wasn't mirrored. The daughter needs the mother to mirror her. Forget that. The mother's trapped in the mirror. Who's the fairest of them all? She's trapped in the mirror. That's narcissism like that. Okay, just a general idea that maybe she resents, being a housewife all her life, but the daughter's going to be free and have fun. Maybe she hates that. I don't know. So I think, see, some others just, what's it called again? There's a phrase for some others overly identify with their daughter, and they vicariously delight in what their daughters do. That's one way to avoid envy. Come on, daughter, live my life for me. Tell me about your day. Tell me the details, and then she wants to feel like it's her. Altruistic surrender, something like that. Not a very good phrase for it. What is the effect on us? Okay, our beingness, our emerging self, our authentic self, our budding, undeveloped emerging self. What is the effect on our beingness when our mother is kind of like this wicked witch? Well, if your mother's envious, well, you feel it's not safe to be yourself. You don't want to make her angry, so you self-sabotage to please her. You keep a lid on your agency, your autonomy. You don't show your happiness. You don't trust yourself. Look at that, eh? Even in your own home, she was taught that success was not safe. Okay, and now as she's learning, she has the resistance to learning. She's reading self-help books, and the person's no way, impossible. I can't believe that my mother didn't love me. No way. So there's the resistance like that. The dwarfs were miners. That's a kind of code for looking in the unconscious, digging up your gems and metals, your own golden gems, your potential, the gifts that you were given by the Great Spirit, your gems, your inner gold like that. You're a miner, so we're metaphorical miners, digging deep in the unconscious, bringing it up, kind of thing. Getting to know yourself more. So relating to the birds and the dwarfs and relating to the animals and the birds and the squirrels and all those fun little animals and all that. That's kind of like your whole instinctual bodily life, like it's being in touch with your body, basically. So reconnect with yourself. Reconnect with yourself, your bodily self, right? And accept it. If you have a hunch that your mother doesn't love you, well, listen to that. Listen to your hunch. So the dwarfs are kind of like the hunch. The father's never around. But wouldn't it have been nice if her father were around to protect and guide the daughter? But that's not going to happen. And if the father were to try to be around, oh, the mother would put a wedge there. No, daughter, don't talk to him. Don't speak to him. Leave him alone. Very dangerous. He'll get very angry. He'll shout at you. He'll get very angry. Oh, he's very troublesome. So many wicked mothers will put a wedge and prevent a connection from the child to the father. The mother will prevent. The mother is extremely jealous and protective of her narcissistic supply. A lot of mothers do that. That's called the allied parent and the alienated parent. All right, child, I'm the allied parent, and your father's going to be the alienated parent. Got it? So at midlife, we have to find our own mirroring, get to know ourselves. That's like the reflection in the glass kind of thing. Okay, so all of your active doing quality, your voice, your agency, your internal power, your internal, okay, that's like the doing side of you, the wounded feminine and the distorted masculine. Well, heal the feminine, then your doing comes up. So that's speaking the truth, finding your voice. That's the prince, finding your voice. When you do that, you kind of wake up finally when you're reunited with yourself. And the lesson is don't be afraid of your mother's envy. It's not your job to save her. It's not your job to cure her. You're not guilty. You're not defective. You were born decent and good. Um, don't believe this false belief that you temporarily made that you're guilty and no good because you couldn't save her. It's not your job to save her. Stop trying to save her. You can't save her. So don't worry about it. The mother's got to go into therapy. You can't be her therapist. So there is hope if you set some kind of boundary like that, set some kind of reality like that. So Snow White teaches us to persevere in the face of parental envy. Okay? Snow White, the story teaches us to persevere in the face of parental narcissism, parental schizoidism, parental bullyism, parental egoism, parental cynicism, parental sarcasm, whatever. The story, fairy tales tell you, you keep going, just persevere kind of thing. Just keep trying to get your parents a story. Why are they like this? Why are they like this? Okay, they're impaired, intergenerational trauma. Why are they like this? Just keep looking for the story. Narrative medicine, the truth will upset you free. So look at that. So a very basic point here. In the Snow White story, the mother stole the mirror, stole the show, and she owns the mirror. So she's looking for mirroring herself. She can't mirror her daughter. She's trapped in her own mirror, where it's all about her and she's the center. Um, should we play a song? Oh, here's another sort of a light song by the band Lighthouse. A light song by Lighthouse called Pretty Lady. Just take a break here. I see you each morning, and in silence I say, pretty lady, I love you, but I know there's no way that you consider my love, girl, 'cause you don't have the time. So I'm trying to conceal it, so you can't read my mind. All I wanna do, pretty lady, see you smiling too, pretty lady. Once in my every day I keep hoping that I may see a sign that'll give me a chance, girl, to be lost in your eyes. But I just go on waiting. Every day is the same. All my friends keep on saying you're a fool of pain. But all I wanna do, pretty lady, Let's just take a quick peek for what's coming up here. Okay, so in 2954, let's see. Okay, a little bit about dreams. Detective work. Detective work. Dreams and the dreamer and your associations to the dreams represent clues, hints as to what's going on in the mind of the dreamer. It's like this in my soul today. Be a detective. Okay, the triangle, the eternal triangle. Okay, we got one about prejudice coming up. Always a tough one. Consider the woman who grew up with an abuse, with a bully for a father. She marries the same kind of man. Yet that woman doesn't see any connection between her bullying father and her bullying husband. Repetition compulsion. Archaic repetition. That's an archaic repetition. Okay. Okay, and then in 5, oh, there's that Nick of Time Twilight Zone, a quote from the Twilight Zone show, Nick of Time. That's a good one, so we'll get there. Repetition compulsion, man's innate response toward the undoing of trauma. That overpowering sense that something back there is still unfinished. Yeah. And because of the pain, because it's unfinished, we recreate it. Okay, so these are about codependency. Okay, so a few on codependency, basically. Let's see. And then 56. Oh, the Hirsch ones. Oh, there's a very good quote by Hirsch. Yeah. Where is it here? Yeah. The image that the neurotic person sees of himself through the eyes of his mother. So when you're self-defeating, when you're self-sabotaging yourself, that reflects the image you saw of yourself reflected through the eyes of your mother when you didn't meet her needs. So when real needs are unmet, we end up with neurotic needs. These neurotic needs are expressed through symbolic acting out. Okay, when you're triggered, quote, what does this situation really mean to me? Okay, a tribute to Karen Horney, one of our mentors. This one here. Another one about dreams. Dreams tell us what's going on inside. It's like this in your soul today. You treat your dreams like letters. Okay, treat your dreams like letters. Each morning, a letter arrives. Those are your dreams. The letters are your dreams. An important message from you to you. Inside of you resides the inner child of the past, a dreamer, a poet, a mischievous child. It's like this in my soul today. Your unconscious self, your secret self, your double self, your shadow self, your repressed self, the one who walks with you, who's not like you, who is you. That's the dream self. Okay, these are sort of miscellaneous ones. Okay, anniversary reaction. Oh, hey, where'd you come from? This is one of the stray cats. Let's see if we can get him in. Can we get him in? Oh yeah, he's a friendlier one. Yeah, hello there. Do you want to say hello to the world? Well, he's one of the stray cats in the park. I've seen him a few times. What have you lost? You've lost a home, right? You probably lost your family. They're orphaned in the park here. I haven't seen this cat in over a year. Yeah, look at that. It's gonna go in my bag. All right, take care, cat. There he is. Okay, and then in what's next? 58. Okay, self-defeat. Okay, so this is the one about the. Okay, more about self-defeating behaviors coming up. Okay, so we did 52 already. That's 51 already. Okay, we did a review of 60. Yes, these were good ones. The as-if personality. That's coming up. The as-if personality. That's a very interesting kind of topic about identity diffusion. Um, the child never internalized really the mother, so they just keep mimicking everybody. As-if personality. That's today's one. Detective work. Yeah. Okay. One second. I'll give you a second. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to read through the quotes here today and pick one, email it to yourself, use it as a prompt to free associate with. Ask yourself, what does this quote remind me of? What does it suggest to me? And when a feeling comes up, validate your feelings. I must have a very good reason for feeling this. What's the hardest thing about this quote? Your mission, should you choose to accept it. Submit it for your approval. This song will end in roughly 5 seconds. Thank you very much for the love of narrative medicine. See you next time.